Whenever I would hear celebrities talk about keep going and believe in your dreams and perseverance, I'm like, okay, what's your first step? How do I do this? Do you record a song on a tape, a cassette? Like, well, how can I get you to see me and want to help me become the next singer or whatever? So my best advice is know what you want. That's the first thing. Know what you want. Know what you want to do.
On the 84th episode of the Passion and Progress show, singer-songwriter, actor, and my cousin, Ronny Mercedes. Ronny was a member of the bachata group Voz a Voz, and he was also a finalist on the Latino version of The Voice called La Voz. And we talk about his experience on the show.
I came out of a TV show that millions saw. As a matter of fact, my YouTube video of my blind audition has over 5 million views. Never in my life did I think that, wow, a video of me singing by myself, like I'm 5 million views. And that was all thanks to La Voz. It's something that I will always be grateful for.
We also talk about being a professional singer, and he gives advice to others who are looking to get into that profession.
The industry is not supposed to be friendly either. It's, can you make money? Can you make our company money? If we invest this much in you, can you quadruple that?
As well as a heartfelt conversation around the true meaning of music and the death of our grandmother.
Who I sing for, why I sing for. I forgot all of that in the process, Avi. I forgot that music is power. And I forgot that music is healing. And with that is a huge tool and a big responsibility.
As always, if you are getting value out of this show, you can share it with a friend on your favorite social platform, and you can tag me at Javier Mercedes X. With all that business stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the 84th episode of the Passion and Progress show with singer-songwriter and actor Ronny Mercedes. What is up, Mercedes? Javier Mercedes here for yet again another Passion and Progress show where we talk to inspiring individuals, and hopefully through hearing their stories, you too are motivated to go out and pursue your passions. And on today's show, we do have quite the special guest, my cousin, superstar singer, Ronny Mercedes in New York City. How's it going, man?
Dude, it first of all, thank you for having me on your podcast. I've always wondered when we can do this, but we've never been able to actually like sit down. You came here or whatever, or I went over there, and it's finally, thank God we're doing this.
Yeah. When we can get into the story of why it wasn't there in the first place, the first time we tried to do it. Do you want to give a little background of who you are and what you're doing today?
Sure. Well, Ronny Mercedes. I was born and raised here in New York City. I've been singing my whole life. As far as I can remember, I don't know whether I started speaking first or I started singing first, but
yeah.
I've always loved to sing since I was a kid, and I knew that it always made people feel good, and that's basically how I knew that I can sing, and also I would always be able to match certain Disney songs and stuff like that, and people would say, "Wow, you should really do this." And what do you want to be? And I always wanted to be a singer. Mm-hmm. I would always do all these little festivals and stuff here in New York City, and then until finally I decided to go into a professional performing arts school, PPAS, Professional Performing Arts school, and it's actually where Alicia Keys graduated from as well.
Legit.
And I was a vocal major there, and I did opera for about 4 years, as well as gospel music. In the mix of that was also acting. I was able to do a few movies and as well as TV shows and stuff like that.
Magazine covers.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, so he was on the cover of like Toys R Us magazine for the original Xbox.
Yes, sir. I'm the original Xbox guy.
Yeah. He's when you think of the cliche advertisements for video games before it was like they really knew what they were doing. Like you had the like, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever. Like I was gonna say the Nintendo's glowing, but it was the Xbox was glowing. Yeah. I think we actually framed that in our house for a while.
Yes,
but it's just
I made it onto the wall.
But it's just funny because it's almost like a brochure thing that was handed out. But yeah, it was amazing.
The price and the sales and all that stuff. Yeah. I actually probably still have a copy somewhere in the house. So if not, then I'll probably ask you to make me a copy.
Well, cool. Just so people understand, and I think there's a lot of people that may listen to this podcast that will get that kind of background where you're a multi-talented, multifaceted person that can come with the acting, with the singing, just an on-camera essence of being. It's kind of like two words using the same thing to describe the same thing. Don't care. It's
Wow.
my own podcast.
Love
Essence
it.
of Being.
Essence of Being.
All right, so we were talking about how you couldn't do the podcast the first time when I was in New York City, and you're like, there's this little thing that may or may not be coming up, so I don't know if I'm available. Yeah. Go ahead and tell the audience what that was.
So basically, I ended up becoming, going into the Latin version of The Voice, which is La Voz, under NBC Telemundo. Made it as a finalist on the show. And it was bittersweet because at the same time, rewinding a little bit, I actually ended up leaving a band that I've been with. We were nominated for 2 Billboards and Latin Grammy.
Can you say the name of it? Yeah.
And so it was a little tough because I knew that I needed to branch out, and Gio and I, which is the other singer and producer, and he's the founder of the group. You know, we've been through so many ups and downs and stuff. And when The Voice came onto my lap, I think it was I took it as a sign of God, just like, okay, well, this is it. You know, there's the opportunity to get your face known as Ronny Mercedes. And so that's what I did. I'm working on my single now, about to actually start promoting now in January. About to head out to Miami to do this, and yeah, so that's why I'm actually glad that I mean, it was bittersweet because I was like, you know, like I really want to do this podcast, and we've been talking about it for such a long time. Yeah. And now I can't do it because now you're in New York, but I got to travel out. But the cool part was that you were able to see it with the family, which is awesome, and they sent me videos. And one of my aunts, who's an amazing cook, made me my favorite flan. And they ate it, so you know, like that's the only thing I regret about it. But other than that, it was great to see that Javi was there with the family supporting.
Yeah. So what he's describing is the eliminations. You were flying out to do that episode. So while I was coming to New York, he was literally flying to Miami, I believe it. Yeah, to Miami to start doing that section of the Voice. I was gonna say the Voice. The Voice. The Voice. La Voz.
Yeah, La Voz.
And I was like, dude, obviously you got to do you. This is awesome. So it was really cool. I was here doing some other podcasting, but during that time period, I was able to see your first iterations of the eliminations of La Voz. Can you describe how far you got? Kind of your time there, if you want to do a little brushstroke of what that looks like.
So I made it as a finalist on La Voz. Made it to the very, very, very end, the very last show. I didn't win. But the good thing is that I made it as a finalist, and that was my goal. It wasn't even to win the show because now that I didn't, I'm free to just do whatever I want, however I want.
And what happens if you do win the show?
If you win the show, they give you $100,000.
That doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, no, of course. After taxes, it's like 67 or 65,000 or something like that, which is still not bad. Mm-hmm. You get one single with Universal Music, but at the same time, all the songs that we performed on the show, we already recorded through Universal. Yeah. So you know, I made my Spotify, like certified my Spotify, and of course the Instagram followers and social media and all that stuff. So now it gave me a tool to better, I guess, brand myself, better market myself.
Boosted all of your social presence.
As well as my price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I talk about on the show is just how do you monetize chasing your passion and what you're passionate about. So that was a great move for you, and you had to make the decision that you already were getting awards for Voz a Voz, your group before that, and you had to take the chance on yourself to pursue this thing. That was the catalyst. And now we're a couple months out from La Voz, which can get confusing. Voz a Voz is the band, and then La Voz is the Latin or Hispanic version. What would you say? Was it Latin version or Hispanic version, Spanish version? I always get confused when I say that.
I guess if you want to say the U.S. Latin version, because I know they have a La Voz Mexico, and I know for sure they have a La Voz Spain.
Okay,
La Voz España.
So
So,
regardless,
yeah.
it's the voice. If you were to look
Yeah.
at it, it looks exactly like
it's
the
the
voice.
same. It's the same everything, same format, same contract, same everything.
What was amazing to me is that the talent that they have for the coaches almost replicates the voice. Like there's a person that's almost the doppelganger of Pharrell or all of that in between, which was really cool. So let's get into how that's affected your career now. What do you do? How are you pursuing life as a singer? How does that look in today's day and age?
As a singer now, life after La Voz has been very interesting because I got so many offers, a lot of offers, a lot of tours and stuff like that overseas. Already with Voz a Voz, we covered almost every continent, which is great, a few times a year. However, it's the same organizations that now were trying to get me, and some others, some new ones as well, to have a concert tour. However, I turned them all down. A lot of people are like, "Are you crazy? You could have banked." And I said, you know what? The thing is, I don't just want to go to perform covers. You know, like I want to record my own stuff. So I put that on hold until next year. I'm gonna start off in Miami first, and then Mexico.
How does that affect? Because there's already another season of La Voz coming out. So how does that affect your whole social Like, do people? When you go to places, like people still like, this is Ronny.
Oh yeah,
Totally.
okay.
Totally.
I mean, I did have the braids. So when I had the braids, it's like it was hands down like wow, it's him. I voted for you. My mom voted for you. We voted for you. Oh, we thought you were gonna win, so on and so forth. Now with the haircut, it's like, you sing, right? I'm like, yeah. Were you on a TV show? Yeah. Oh my gosh, Ronny! Oh wow, I love it. Or they'll recognize me because of already the follower. They're already following me on social media.
Yeah.
So one or the other. It gets a little weird. The weirdest part, though, I have to tell you, is when you're in a public place and they're recognizing you, but they don't come up to you. So you don't know if they're like just staring at you because they're being creepy, or if they're staring at you because. So it's like, so sometimes I'm like. I remember I had a situation where I was like, oh, okay, like I acknowledge that you're staring at me. So I went up to this person. I said, hi, nice to meet you. And they said, hi. And it was super awkward because they were just looking at me to look at me, but it wasn't because they recognized me. So it was just like, oh, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those that are just listening, when he said hi, he was just like kind of waving his hand like a dead fish.
Yeah,
when somebody
like,
goes in
hi,
for the dead fish handshake. Yeah. Exactly.
But other than that, like for the most part, people have been very, especially here in New York, the Dominican community especially have been very, very supportive, and still are very supportive, especially because I had a message to talk about how music right now is not the same as back in the day. And I have nothing against any genres or anything like that. But I think each of us as artists, as public figures, we have a responsibility to people, to the new generation. What do you want to be known for? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want your culture to be remembered? And I feel, like as much as I love all the vulgarity that's out there, at the same time, when I'm on the bus and I hear little girls and little boys talk in a very, very inappropriate way, not respecting their elders, or the abuela that's praying her rosary bead, and little girls are just like saying all these these crazy things, and when they reprimand them, they use the F word on them and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, where are they learning this from? And I believe that music has a big influence on that. So when I was on La Voz, the first thing that I said was basically that I wanted to be light where there's darkness, and that's actually a slogan that I'm using: "Somos luz, seamos luz," which means let us be light. We are light, because I think we do live in dark times and we don't realize it, and slowly but surely our generations are forgetting the principles that our parents taught them, and so on and so forth. Taught us, taught them, their grandparents, and so on and so forth. When I hear the new Latino generation sometimes speak about certain things, I say to myself, "Oh my gosh, my grandmother would be rolling in her grave right now if she knew that this young lady was saying this." So it's certain things where it's like, I just feel like we have to be more responsible, and so that's my message. I'm not against any genre. Like I said, I think every artist has the right to express themselves however they want, but when that's the only option that our new generation is getting, I think we may be faced with a little trouble coming up ahead, and so that's my message. It's just to give kids another option.
you go on tour, and this is hypothetical, you go on tour and then you have the ability to work with one of these people, would that be like, would you just say no?
No, of course not. Of course not. But it depends. If they ask me to sing about infidelity, of course not. It doesn't matter who.
Well, I think it already speaks volumes that you were talking about turning down the initial paycheck to go on tour immediately after La Voz goes on, and you made a decision that I want to be my own person and my own musician. So, translated into what you're talking about now, it seems like you're very much sticking to your laurels. Have you seen that be a part of the polarizing effect of people actually attaching to the message that you have to say?
I believe there is an audience for everything,
Mm-hmm.
and there's an audience for everyone. By the grace of God, I feel like I'm blessed with, as long as I have health, my family's okay. I'm abundant. There's in love and in fulfilling dreams, so on and so forth. I don't need anything. I don't want to be a singer because I want to be rich and famous. That's a nice part. If I'm blessed with that, then amen. That's great. However, even the people that have the most money, a lot of people are just unhappy, or they don't love their jobs, or they don't love themselves. And I think that if I do music just because I want to be commercial, or just because it's what's trending, or this is what the kids are listening to, and I've been put in situations in the studio with major I'm not gonna name them, but major Latino recording artists that have asked me to sing the line that says something about, "Don't worry about your man, just take off your pants and let's roll up." So basically, I'm telling you to break up a family or break up a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about what you think. Just do your job, and let's roll up, and then act like nothing happened. And it's like, and I told them I absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
And they started laughing at me.
I hope there's people in the crowd snapping right now.
I said, well, you guys can laugh. Get another singer. There was another situation with a very, very big American recording artist who may use my vocals or not on his track, but he had something similar to say about that as well, and I told him that I didn't want to do it. And it's a rapper that I've actually looked up to my whole life. He's actually my favorite rapper. You can ask me who it is after, but like myself and another singer that were there, we were like, no, that's not what we're about, and we're sorry. So what I'm trying to say with all that is that like I will always do music because I love it. I love commercial songs, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, if I have to do a reggaeton, I'll do a reggaeton. I love reggaeton. I love music in general, but just as long as it's a song that doesn't hurt anyone and doesn't that I can still dedicate to my wife, even if it's vulgar, it depends. There's a certain line to vulgarity, but even if it's I guess provocative, like I'm okay. I'm all for it. But just as long as it's a song that you can dedicate to your significant other, then I'm cool with it. But if I'm telling you, forget about your man and all that stuff, then I don't roll with that.
Was there something in your past that made that you're making that decision for your music now? Was there one time where you did you did have to do something like that, and then it rubbed you the wrong way?
There was one time. There was
Okay.
one time that I ended up doing it, and when I saw the music video,
So it was even like full blown production.
yeah, I said, wow, and as a matter of fact, I got criticized for it. Because it did end up biting me in the rear end afterwards. So after I came out and I gave this message about, let's teach our boys to be gentlemen, and let's teach girls that they
Somebody
can be.
posted your video.
Yeah. And they were like, what are you talking about? Like, you're so hypocritical, this, that, the other. And the truth is, I wasn't in control of the video. Like, I sang the song, not realizing that it was going to be something that basically was derogatory towards women, and depending how you see it, how you view it. Because some people are like, no, it's a great video, and it was a great song and everything, but very catchy and everything. And now, like, I remember my spirit said, I can't repost that.
Yeah.
I can't repost it. Wow, my titis and tias are looking at this, and all of a sudden, like, it's my face and I'm singing and all this other stuff, and you see a half-naked girl, like, just like on a bed, and it's like, oh, okay, well, Ronny, this is this how you're representing me? Is this how you represent your mother, your wife? your future daughters, your grandmother. Like this is so all this, it's again, I'm not against it. I'm not against it, to each their own. But as far as what I want to speak about and the things that I want to sing about, I want to sing about fun. I want to sing about positive things. I want people to cry to my songs. I want people to emote with my songs, and I want people to be able to propose, get married to my songs and stuff like that. I want to be a tool of a source of healing. And that's not even to be religious or anything like that. I believe that there's truth and misconceptions in everything. But what my spirit says is, this is if God gave you this gift, what are you gonna do with it? You can either it's for your own ego or it's to be of service, and I choose to be of service.
Amazing, by the way. And the original question about the whole polarizing thing is, I believe that if you are standing for something, then it will create even those people that do love you for you will love you even more just because you stand for something, as opposed to swaying in the wind to whatever the production needs. Then you're doing whatever the production needs. A little bit earlier, you're talking about in the studio with certain rappers and all that kind of stuff. You are doing this full time. Besides being here in New York City, for people that are aspiring to be singers, other people that are looking to make it in this industry, you're doing it. What advice would you give?
Stay in school, kids. No, honestly,
Yeah.
I think it's very cliche. I always just get mad whenever when I was a kid and I wanted to know how to do this. How do I become a famous singer? How do I become how do I go on tour one day and all this other stuff? And whenever I would hear celebrities talk about keep going and believe in your dreams and perseverance, I'm like, okay, what's your first step? How do I do this? Do you record a song on a tape, a cassette? Like, well, how can I get you to see me and want to help me become the next singer or whatever? So my best advice is know what you want. That's the first thing. Know what you want. Know what you want to do. And basically, what every day, how can you make simple steps? For example, if you want to be an actor, if you want to be a singer, get your pictures done. Everything's an investment. If it costs $300 to get your pictures done, invest the money. Print out your resume. Do free work if you must in order to get some credit. Eventually somebody will see you. Every time you perform, remember, it's always an audition. Don't ever think you have made it, or that every time you're on stage, you're always auditioning and you're always touching somebody for the first time. And little by little, you'll start growing. The reason I got into Voz a Voz to begin with, and I started tours and immediately, was because the group was already formed, and I ended up doing a previous show which was called Objetivo Fama. It's like La Voz, but it's kind of like Big Brother meets American Idol. It's like 10 guys and 10 girls from Latin America and the U.S. who end up living in the house, and they take your phones away and everything. It's just cameras, drama. And that was the first time I felt.
But based around singing?
Based around singing, yeah. It's the same thing. Every week there's a gala and someone's eliminated, and it's about the people voting and stuff like that. And when I got out the show, that got me my first, I guess, handful of fans, real fans, and real people who actually, wow, I voted for you.
This is Instagram too.
This was This was at the moment it was Facebook, and it was MySpace. And I started.
That tells you, man. That tells you.
MySpace.com/Ronny Mercedes, and I had like these big braids.
You were in people's top 5.
Yeah, exactly. And so and that's how I ended up landing in this group, and it's because they saw me on there.
Would you be able to give like a 30-second synopsis of how you even got on that show? Because I think if people are even wondering, because you brought it up, like, how do you even get to that point? Like, how did you get into personally, I always think it's like some sort of relationships gets you into that thing,
right?
And just your network, but explain how you even got onto that first show.
Well, I mean, like I've always sang, another thing is, work on your talent, work on your craft. Just because you're a talented person, become a skilled talent, skillful talent,
Yeah.
and I would always tell actors and singers, it doesn't matter how great you are of a talent, you can always grow and you will always learn. So invest in those voice lessons, invest in those acting lessons, and just become amazing. Don't give anyone any excuse. So when I auditioned for that show, I got in. I was.
So it was straight up. You went for an audition.
I went for an audition,
and you had the chops.
Exactly.
There you guys go.
Exactly.
Okay.
So work on that, and then once you get out of there, run with it. Run with the opportunity. Anytime you get an opportunity, run with it. Now we have the access of social media. You don't even need a record label anymore. Like back in the day, we needed record labels to invest in
MySpace.
Now it's all streaming.
Yeah.
It's all streaming. It's about streaming. Yes, a record label, like they have contacts and connections. It's a lot easier if you have the support, not just signed to a record label, but the support of an actual record label. But if you have a decent amount of following, work on your followers. Everything's about your content. And you can get yourself in a platform like La Voz or like I don't know, America's Next Top Model, or something that's going to showcase you to millions of people. That's a faster way of getting to where you need to, because all of a sudden you become valuable. And that's basically what it is. The industry is not supposed to be friendly either. It's, can you make money? Can you make our company money? If we invest this much in you, can you quadruple that? And once you're able to understand that and not take it to heart, and you understand the industry, you understand the business, and you work every day hard to achieve small steps. Like I said, for example, I got out of La Voz immediately. I got myself new pictures immediately. I let my agent know, hey, submit me, make sure that's on my resume, that's on my bio. So, oh wow, singer, actor, songwriter, okay, oh, La Voz, the voice, oh, this, that, the other. So it makes it easier to get those appointments. It makes it easier to get those auditions, those meetings, distributors, so on and so forth, depending how you want, what it is that you want. But you have to know what it is that you want. I knew that I could do massive tours coming out immediately, but what am I going to do? Songs that are not original. So in the long run, I'm not investing in my career. I'm just investing in a small period of time. I made that money, but guess what? No one knows your music still. No one will, you won't make any money off of streamings. So it depends what it is that you want. Do you want to sing just at your local bar? Do you want to sing at Radio City, Madison Square Garden? Or do you want to sing to your friends and family? Do you want to sing at church? It depends. It depends what you want to do with your career. So I think it's all about small steps and educating yourself.
Wow, that's really powerful what you just said in terms of investing in a longer term goal as opposed to being nearsighted and
Exactly.
seeing things nearsighted. I can personally attest to this. I know when we wanted to do another podcast, I just wanted to not even ask because you were in that hustle phase of just coming out of La Voz. And it was like, oh, dude, he's like, I remember being on the phone with you and you're like, yeah, we're driving back from this place and I'm on the phone with this record label and these kind of tours and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just trying to weigh my options on all this material. Can you go into what that was like the first 6 months afterwards, after La Voz, just how you positioned yourself to be successful in the future?
Well, okay, I guess it took a lot of prayer. The first 6 months was a lot of prayer because I believe a lot in the law of attraction. However, at the same time, you also have to balance your emotions and understand. That's why it's very important that people understand that industries and businesses are not meant to be friendly. If you can make friends within the industry, then great, as long as you can respect each other's position. So what I'm trying to get to is I made a lot of friends on the show, a lot of top ballers and a lot of top dogs in the industry, a lot of this person's producer and this person's music director and this artist, Ricky Martin, J-Lo. I'm talking about the top people in the industry that have basically said, we're going to work together. Oh my gosh, after this, I hope you don't
while
win.
You're on the show.
Right, and some managers, some of these huge artist managers and the guest celebrities that would come in would talk to me and say, listen, I hope you know that we all believe you're going to win, all this other stuff. And, I have your contact. You and I are going to do great things together. And I've been through it many times in my life, so I understood that. Okay, right now you're speaking off of emotion. If I don't win this show, it's probably gonna be a different a different story, because right now you're looking at me with eyes of faith, and you're rooting for me and all this stuff, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. But your number one fan is always going to be yourself, and no one's going to treat your project like you. And aside from that, and I get it, everyone has their own things to do, and every artist still, even the most successful artists, still have to maintain themselves. They don't have time to invest in someone new. Now, when they do, wow, God bless you. Like it means a lot, not just because of your credibility, but also because you're giving me a certain time that you can be investing on yourself to maintain your millions.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally. So I had to understand that many times, and I think the hardest part was trying to not believe it. And I know that it sucks to hear that. Not everything's fairy tales, and it's good to believe in fairy tales, because it's going to keep you motivated and alive, and it keeps the dream alive. Please don't ever give up on your dream. However, also understand not to take it personal when things don't go your way, or when people promise you things that do not happen. So I guess that was the biggest fight that I kept having with myself. Whenever I would, in the beginning, hey brother, you did great on La Voz. I have your number. We're gonna meet up in a few weeks. I'm gonna fly you out to Miami. I'm gonna fly you to LA. I'm gonna fly you here, there, at the other. You're gonna open up my concert tours, and I'm gonna produce you.
Did that just fizzle out?
Of course. Now it stays on scene.
Oh wow.
So, and I knew it. Or, hey, I haven't forgotten. Well, guess what? I've moved on, and I haven't forgotten either.
Can you talk about that relationship, if you can, because I think anybody, especially YouTubers looking for collabs or any of that kind of thing, have the same mentality of maybe you had one-on-one time with a specific person, or maybe you haven't, and then reaching out for that collab or anything like that. But then there's the they didn't really say no, they didn't really say yes,
right,
but they didn't really, and then you're past the first interaction. What do you do in those situations? Are you hitting them up if you do have their number, how many is too many text messages, or how many is too many DMs or emails or any of that kind of, how do you tote that ground?
I stick to 3.
You just, that was great number. that you just it was a straightforward answer.
Yeah, I stick to 3.
And how does that look? So if you guys had an interaction, hey, what's up? Oh, dude, let's connect. And this is me being the other person. Let's connect. Let's do the thing. Let's fly you out. Let's do the thing. Oh, great. Here's my schedule. What looks best? I'm open whenever. Nothing back. So what happens after that?
So then after that is,
so you have 2 more times to reply. What's the time frame and all that?
Time frame was spontaneous.
Okay.
That's spontaneous because, you also have to understand that people have things to do.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's always busy, and people have things to do. And you also have to be mindful of that. However, you don't want to be forgotten, and you don't want to come across annoying. And it's a balance. That's why I always stick to 3. If by the second time I see seen, or I see, hey, sorry, I'm getting back to you, because I've also gotten hey, sorry, I'm getting back to you, it's been hectic. Hey, no worries. Just want to know when can we, because, for example, I have this deal that's being offered right now. I had about, within the 6 months, I had 3 deals, three record deals that were offered. However, I don't want to move forward because I really want to hear what you wanted to tell me once the show was done, as you said.
Oh. Man, that's like high baller stuff.
And it's because you also want to, and I lost momentum. I did lose a lot of momentum, waiting on people. And that's one of the things that I learned now, is that at the end of the day, you have to give yourself a schedule. You have to give yourself a time frame, and you have to say, okay, if this doesn't happen between now and then, you just got to move on. You got to move on. And so I'm still in negotiation with a few other people, but if things don't, and I'm saying it right now, if things don't click between now and January, I'm doing it on my own. And
this will probably be released in January.
It's going to. Yeah. And so my first single, independent single, is going to be released in January.
Okay.
With or without the extra boost, it can be done, and I can do it. And between levels, and now I've been doing a lot of private events, a lot of high-end private events. So with the money that's coming in, obviously there's New York City survival, but what's left of that is going to go into my investment. I have a budget. So this is one thing, going back to another question about the advice. I have a budget for myself. that I'm not touching. And from that budget is going to come out a promo. My promo is going to be investments in ads and streaming and all that stuff, Facebook, so on and so forth, as well as media tours and whatever, like I'm flying myself out to Miami,
Doing podcasts.
No, this is family time. It is family time. But like I'm flying myself out to Miami. I have to pay for my hotel, so stuff like that. Like if the managers and the people who promised me the world are not gonna come through, guess who will? Ronny, because I prepared myself for it. It's like college, it's like you pay your loans. Why do you pay? This is college for me, this is the career I chose. So I need to treat it with respect. And so from there, that's where the hotel, the Ubers to Univision or to Telemundo or to wherever.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people listening that they can relate. I mean, myself included. I have my own LLC, right. All the stuff that
and who had to help Javier?
Yeah,
Javier.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and my wife.
And your wife, Sabrina rocks.
Yeah, super supportive.
Yeah,
but I'm really excited to dive into this because you are on one side of the spectrum and I know the other side. Why put so much investment into one promo, one single, as opposed to being a SoundCloud artist, just trying to pump out as much content as possible and like seeing what is sticking, growing on that platform, or if you're like on YouTube, if you're like every single other day you're releasing something. And at what point have you gotten to this stage where you're like, I have a single and my single is the thing and that's what I'm promoting?
Okay. It may sound weird, but one of the biggest life lessons I learned is that you are what you project.
Okay.
So if you project yourself as a streaming artist and that's how people will see you.
Mm-hmm.
I came out of a TV show that millions saw. As a matter of fact, my YouTube video of my blind audition has over 5 million views. Never in my life did I think that, wow, a video of me singing by myself, like I'm 5 million views. And that was all thanks to La Voz. It's something that I will always be grateful for. And the people actually hung on to the idea of Ronny Mercedes. I owe it to them. And I feel it's a wonderful responsibility to have to not just, say, here's my music, download it. No, I want to give you face. I want to give you performance. I want to talk to you about what it's been like thanks to you. I want to give this back to you and I want you to keep growing with me. Aside from that, you are what you project. I came out of there and I went in there knowing that I've done great things in music. I've done a lot of TV shows, and it's funny because even the interviews that I did, it was like, oh wow, great to see you again. Like it's like, and some of them would even like, why are you doing the voice? You've already, and I'm like, no, I'm Ronny Mercedes now. Like Voz a Voz is great and everything. But this is time for me to showcase myself. So I'm starting all over again, and I want you to treat me as a new artist basically, because now I have my own ideas. I have things that I want to showcase. And I thank you for your time. I thank you for opening these doors for me at this amazing facility called Telemundo. And all these big TV morning shows and variety shows, so on and so forth. So it's important for me to not just stay at home and try to collect royalties because my fans are going to download my music. There's no fun in that. There's no fun in that. Money isn't everything either. And sometimes if you want to grow and you want to max out, for example, I'm about to promote this single right now, which is called Mi Botella. And I'm about to promote this single now, and I need to treat it with respect. So if in order for me to do that, and if I really believe in this single, why not treat it such as? Because if not, then, might as well get yourself a 9-to-5, or go back to school or do something, go become a waiter or something, watch time fly by, I don't know, watch Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
But if you sacrifice so much in your life and time and money and tears and I left a great position with Voz a Voz, because we were at our peak. 2019 was filled with so many shows. In 2020, like we have tour dates and all over Central America, Asia, Europe, and I left that. Why? You were already making great money there, Ronnie. So why would you leave all that if it's just to be mediocre? You are what you project, and that's the reason why I do it.
Boom. Name of episode: Ronny Mercedes. You are what you project.
No.
Ronnie. So that's an old. Oh man, I wonder if I'm gonna get copyrighted for just you doing that. Man, that's a great answer, and I think there's both spectrums to that argument though, because there's some people that I follow on YouTube where they did covers for a while and then they started doing their own thing, and I've seen a progression. I think one of them's I believe her name's Tessa Violet. She's popped up on my scene recently, and I love her music, and she just came out with an album. But if you go back into her YouTube catalog, she's doing covers, and then you can slowly start to see original content, and then out of nowhere it's like, here's a full-fledged full production, like really good cameras, all stuff, and then a sequential release of here's the first single, here's the second single, and then she's on tour and like really putting everything underneath her own music. So the whole reason I asked that question is the other people that I had on, Nick Hagelin, when he got started, he was doing covers all the time when that was like a huge thing on YouTube. Then moving on to that, and then once people had familiarity of who he was, then move into his own original stuff. And he would sprinkle in the original while he was doing the covers. But I think there's two ways of doing it, just like what you're talking about. And the reason I wanted to ask that to you is because I know you're at the point where, like, look, you're just like you said, you are what you project, and you're investing in yourself.
Right on.
Another question I want to ask is, what's been on your mind lately? If somebody was in your shoes, that you just like, whenever I go into these situations, if somebody's interviewing me, and I'm like, I always have something on my mind. I'm like, man, I want to kind of talk about this thing. Like, is there anything like that that's been going on recently that has to do with your career?
Well, just to say to all your fans that, Javier has the cutest cheeks, and when he was a kid, I used to call him cutie cheeks.
Yeah.
No, honestly, well, there's two things. The first one is, Javi, I'm very proud of you. I'm very
He's
proud of you.
He's gonna turn this around
and,
on me.
And I will get back. I will get back to something that I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's in my heart. Because in this interview specifically, I think it's the most special one in my life, because it's you.
Yeah,
who's
man.
Doing this, and it's awesome to see how you have grown. And to see us playing in your backyard. The Brian's Club, the obstacle courses
Brian's my brother.
in Indiana. In the backyard, we used to like do the swing sets and all that stuff, and going to the lake and just like breaking your dad's piano, which I still feel bad about when I was a kid. I'll get you a new one, Theo. One of these days when I'm done paying off the tours. And it's like to me, to see my little cousin who I love as if you're my own brother. We were practically raised together and would see each other, but in two different states, and would see each other for holidays and stuff like that, and summer vacations and stuff. But to see us as grown men, and you're giving me this interview, and you're giving me this time, it means the world to me, Javi. So thank you for that.
You're giving me your time. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. But one of the things that I do want to talk about is, aside from making this into a business, there's something that is more important to me. And it's something that we lose track of, and it's why do you do what you do? And for a very long time, I remember when the most beautiful thing that I learned from La Voz is that I was reminded again by a great music director, producer, musician, so on and so forth. His name is David Cabrera, and he's Ricky Martin's and Jennifer Lopez's music director and arranger, and also for La Voz. And I remember he was rooting for me so much in the show, and gave me the best spiritual advice, and so on and so forth. And I remember that I went into a room once, and we were practicing the song that I was going to do for the blind audition, and he just went crazy. He was like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." He was just like, all these praises and all that stuff. And the next day, he came in to hear it again. And honestly, Javier, I've never done it better. it was even better than the blind. Like, it was like, even for me, I was like, wow, did I really hit that note? Oh my gosh, that riff just came out so clean. Like, wow. And he just looked at me. He says, why do you sing? And I said,
Oh, you're firing me up, man.
and I just stay looking at him like, he's like, who do you sing for? And I'm thinking he's expecting like this really cliche answer, my wife, the children of the world, whatever. And he says, you don't even have to answer that because Spirit is telling me who you sing for. And you forgot who you sing for. You used to sing for Spirit since even before you even, no, he said, before you even started singing, you were already singing for him and you forgot. And then he just walked out. And it took me a long time. You know what, Javi? And I'm glad that I'm telling you about this because I'm sure you'll find a special place in your heart for this. It boggled me because I'm like, where is this coming from? I prayed about it and I said, okay, whatever that is. That same night, production from La Voz is asking me to send them videos of Voz a Voz and send them to continue sending them videos of my family, since our uncles and parents, that they all play and musicians and all that stuff. So they wanted to see if I had footage of it. So of course I sent pictures of all of us, my cousins and all that. And so in the midst of it, I'm sending them videos as well of Voz a Voz, and I'm seeing all our concert tours when we were in Switzerland, when we were in Italy, when we were in Japan, Hawaii, Alaska. And I started getting angry because I started remembering all the times that our managers have screwed us over and we've been robbed and we've been cheated out of, and just I started feeling like this melancholy, this sadness. And I said, you know what, it's 4 a.m. I have to close my laptop, and as I'm closing it, I see a little folder. I saw a little folder that said Mama Yeya's 91st birthday.
Mama Yeya is our grandmother.
She's our grandmother. And so it was a folder that my father put on my laptop, but I never had the courage to open. And I said, you know what? Maybe now it's a good time because there's probably stuff in there. I'm probably singing in there, and I think it would be a cute footage to show on La Voz. And it was at the senior citizen home. A lot of us were there, Titi, Sandy, a bunch of cousins, a bunch of my siblings. All of my siblings were there, actually. My uncles, my aunts, and or my aunt, and a bunch of friends, family friends and stuff like that. And of course, all the my grandmother's neighbors at the senior citizen center, and my grandmother, a little, I guess she's still lucid, but at the same time, I believe she had, I think it was dementia and a case of Alzheimer's. In and out, in and out, in and out. And my uncles and my dad organized a mariachi band to play for her. And I came in a little late, and I came in afterwards, and I was supposed to be the surprise singer. And I came in, very thin Ronny, young Ronny, and I sang the song to her. And it was a song, Costumbres. And she sang, and she tried so hard to sing all the lyrics of the song. Not only her, were also her, all the other senior citizens that were there that were possibly also with Alzheimer's and all.
Mm-hmm.
And they're singing the song too. They possibly don't remember their names. They possibly don't even know what's going on, but they remember the song. And for that moment, they were living a moment. And Mama Yeya starts clapping. There's a part where I just get on my knees and I just start, I hold that note and I just go slowly down on my knees and I look at her and she's singing the song with me, and then she's just tearing up and she's clapping. And I broke down because I realized what David Cabrera was telling me earlier in that room when Spirit was talking to him. You forgot who you sing for and why and for what you sing for. I forgot that music is power, and I forgot that music is healing. And with that is a huge tool and a big responsibility. I was in that room not thinking about how many followers I have. I was in that room not thinking about who screwed me over or what tour I have to do or what's my next step. I was in there to serve. And it gave me so much pleasure to serve. And I forgot that. I went on La Voz to make a name for myself as Ronny Mercedes, as opposed to thinking you have a big responsibility that God's putting in your lap right now. The world is looking at you. Now you're in front of millions. What do you have to say? Who do you sing for? So, in that, I realized that I don't just want to sing because it's fun or the applauses. we're all gonna die, and that's one thing that we don't realize. We think it's about our job, it's about our bank accounts, it's about our social status, it's about our new posts, it's about our bodies, it's about no, that stays here. Do you like doing your podcast?
Oh yeah, man.
You love it.
Mm-hmm.
You are doing the right thing, Javi. Because tomorrow, God forbid, it's time for you to go. Was Javi happy? Yes. Was he a great father? Yes. Was he a great husband? Yes. Was he a great brother, great son? Congratulations. You
won the lottery.
You won life. You lived life.
Yeah.
You did what you were supposed to, because life is a gift. And when in your gift, you can touch people, even through your podcast. You can touch people. You can, wow, you know what? I became a millionaire because I heard this advice from this person on your podcast. Javi, you did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so with me, it's the same thing. So after that, I started praying a lot. Obviously, you could tell I'm a very spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
I started praying and I said, okay, God, like this was very wonderful to be a tool of light, of love. What else do you need me to say? And so all of a sudden I start hearing about rape. I start hearing all these stories of like close friends and people that are close to my heart and that I grew up with talking about, oh, my father raped me, or my brothers, or my uncles, or this or that. And I'm like, wow, in this whole week I've been hearing about rape. And it wasn't until Deborah said, babe, you should write a song about it. So I did. And it just connects me. All of a sudden, in Utah, I was just hired, and that's how crazy just God is, the universe is, just the perfect timing. I just got hired to do a fundraiser for
human trafficking,
mm-hmm. Child trafficking, and so it was life-changing for me, because even though I've always known that I wanted to do something about it, or at least speak of it, to be able to witness the actual videos and the footages of these missions of people who go undercover to rescue these children, and the result of them having a family, or just reconnecting them to their moms, who was just washing the laundry really fast while the kids played in the background, and all of a sudden, where's my daughter? Where's my son? 5 years later, they come malnourished and all sorts of messed up because of the terrible things they had to and fears they had to face daily, and the monsters they had to face daily. And so to be able to sing, they hired me to sing the prayer. Andrea Bocelli and Celine Dion. I sang it with a colleague of mine named Chioma, who's also a recording artist. And so we sang this song, and it brought so many people to tears. And it also, not because of us, but because of the message, and because I believe our spirits were in the right place. So when we sang this song, it wasn't just because we were two talented singers. It was because it came with a purpose. And the lyrics of that song specifically are so strong and so powerful. And it made people, I guess, it opened up the room to say, okay, we're here for this purpose, and we're here to donate for these missions, to rescue these children. To not only rescue them, but it's also to the aftercare, as well as placing them into adoption by families that of loving families, and I got to meet some of the most amazing heroes, real life heroes that went into these missions, and then afterwards ended up adopting about 9 of these kids, and are just giving them so much love and letting them know it's okay now, it's over, but we have a big responsibility. So I believe we all have a talent. We all have a gift. We all have that X factor, that X-Men factor. I believe everyone who has a talent,
superpower,
we have that superpower. What are you gonna do with it? How are you gonna touch lives? Because sooner or later, you and I are gonna pass. But what did you do for the future generations?
Your legacy.
What do you do for the legacy? But I think right now, I don't even want it to be about me. Mm-hmm. I think I'm so grateful at this point of my life that I think the most genuine thing that you can give is an act of a selfless act of love. Because once it's about, look what I did, look what I donated, look how I saved these children, then you're defeating the purpose of why you're doing it. It's like if I took you out to dinner and every time, do you remember that time, Javi? I paid for your food. Do you remember, Javi, when I paid for your food? It's like,
oh, I thought you were literally asking me that. No, I was like, oh, I don't know.
I don't remember. But that's the thing. It's like next time don't do it. If you want to boast about it, you already got your payment. Well, congratulations, you wow.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, so that's why for me, more than legacy, it's more, you know, what you can teach people, how what you can teach people. You're all of us, we all plant seeds, whether it's seeds of hate, seeds of fear, seeds of racism, seeds of compassion, seeds of love, seeds of happiness. What seeds are you planting? And on a daily basis, who you speak to. And it's learned behavior. The same way we learn evil, the same way we learn racism, the same way we learn prejudice, acts, and so on and so forth, is the same way we learn love. It's like, for example, if I go into a community and every day I go into an elevator and everyone's...
Can you, just for the people listening, can you say what you're doing?
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, if everyone's just texting on their phones or just like in a bad mood, but every day I said, "Good morning, how are you?" Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe it takes 3-4 times, but guess what? Sooner or later, that person's gonna say good morning and genuinely, wow, you know, thank you. You made my day better just with a smile.
Dude, there was one guy, and I think I talked about him before in the podcast. There's two things I want to bring up. One is going off what you were talking about. I was going to the gym and I was just going to the water fountain. Some guy was just like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, and just like talking. And at first I was like, "What are you doing, guy?" And then, and then afterwards I was just like, you know what? What's weird is my first thought is like, why are you talking to me this way? Yeah, exactly. What do you want from me? Like, kind of thing.
We learned that.
And then after a little bit, I was just like, oh, I think this guy's just like a cool dude that just like wants to, I don't know. It's like, it sounds weird talking about it on the podcast, but it's like a genuine, like, oh, do you want to be a real human being and have a conversation type of thing, you know? The second thing that I want to go way backtrack to in the beginning of what you were talking about is our grandmother and the power of why you're doing what you're doing, and just hitting that aha moment when you, and this is in a prior podcast, the one that I did on our grandmother. It's called Mama Yeya. I forget the number of it. I'll put it in the show notes because it's like one of the most heartfelt ones that I did. I cried during that one. But
yeah, we did too.
But
we did too.
We love our grandmother so much, and there's so much that both of us have to attribute to even being on Earth because of what she went through. Speaking of the trafficking and all that. And
thank you, Javi, for doing that.
All that stuff. But
beautiful tribute.
My own daughter, her middle name is my grandmother's name, so that speaks volumes to what we think of her. But what Ronny was talking about with the whole Alzheimer's thing and all that, I went and visited my grandmother when she was on her deathbed, and she, for the last couple days, wouldn't even open her eyes. She was just there. Maybe she would kind of hold your hand or something, but it just was a remnant of who our grandmother was and like the power that she was. And Ronny comes in and he starts singing. And I remember that. Mind you, my grandmother had not opened her eyes for so long. And when he started singing, guess who opened their eyes? Looked straight at Ronny, and you could tell that she was trying her darned hardest to murmur the words while he was singing them to her. It was one of the most impactful experiences, and it's weird because in certain situations like that, you're like, why are you like experience life as is, and like I get out my cell phone and I'm recording it, right? And if you go back and you look at my podcast that I did with or about my grandmother, the very last clip is the one that I'm describing right now. It's where Ronny is singing to our grandmother, and then I pull out from that, and then I zero in the frame, and I pull out from the computer on that clip, and then I focus in on my daughter, and just like it's like one of the coolest shots that I've ever done, but in a way that it's the most authentic. And it wasn't like contrived of like, oh, I want to do something with this. It was more like, this is a powerful moment, and it brings gravitas to exactly the argument that you're saying. Like, there's something more to what you're doing than just, oh, I want to do this to be fame.
Amen. Exactly, Javi. and you know, I remember also there was a moment when everyone left the night before she passed, and I stayed in the room I believe your dad went downstairs with our aunt, Tianini, to get soda. They wanted to stay up. They wanted to stay with her.
Yeah.
And I stayed in the room. And I had a moment with her where she opened up her eyes as well. And I was singing that song that I sang to her with the mariachi. And she was just shaking, trying so hard to like sing the song and her lips and everything. And I was able to tell her at that moment, first of all, music was able to cause that moment where she opened up her eyes after not reacting for, like you said, the past few days. And I told her, I asked her, Mama, yeah, if you understand me, can you squeeze my hand? And I said, "Do you so yes, if you understand me, squeeze my hand again." And she'll do it. And so I asked her, "Are you scared?" And she squeezed so hard. I asked her if she understood what was happening. She understood. And I said, "Don't be afraid. You're not alone." Because that's one thing she'd always say, "Never forgetting me. Honey, never forgetting me."
You can't forget Mama Yeya's
Yeah,
food,
never
man.
forgetting me was what she always would say. And she said, and I told her, it's okay to let go. Where you're gonna go is a place of light, a place of peace. You've done so great for all your kids, and we're here. Like you said, you're not doing this alone. We're here with you. I just want to let you know that we are okay, and that it's okay to let go. And she slowly started closing her eyes, but as she's doing this, because she was also dehydrated, I guess what was left,
Yeah.
just like accumulated right here, and then she just went back to.
He's talking about a
sleep.
tear on
Yeah.
on the eye.
And so, but what I want to say with that is that it's amazing how music has always been such a strong factor in our family. Everyone plays. I remember the best New Year's parties or Christmas or Thanksgiving parties was going to my dad's house.
Oh yeah, I still wish my wife could see that.
Everyone would grab an instrument, and everyone would just start switching off. My sister and I would start singing. Titi would start singing. My uncle would start harmonizing, and
I wouldn't even be like, I was younger, and there would be smaller versions of congas, and I remember getting calloused and my fingers hurting. My fingers hurting because in order to get sound out of that little small drum, you'd have to really smack that thing, and
I'm grateful for those moments. That's the only thing I regret about it, which is why for me it's such a pleasure to see you, cuz, and it's such a pleasure to have your kids around us, and I my sister and I, especially Dianis and I, would always look forward to your visits. We would always look forward to Christmas and all that stuff because you guys were coming through. So when Mama Yeya passed away, obviously she was literally the reason why everyone would come to New York, and now everyone has jobs and families and this, and life happens, So now it's so sporadic when we can get everyone together, unless it's for a wedding.
Yeah.
So for me, it means a lot. And to think that, music in general and family and heart, like those are the things, going back to summing it up, going back to who I sing for, why I sing for. I forgot all of that in the process, Javi. I forgot all about that, and I was so focused on trying to be successful that I forgot the reason why I sang. So now, to me, the applause are always nice because it says, I appreciate what you do. But the ego and the boast, I can say that I'm so grateful after that experience, and after that, that was my aha moment, was I can say now I fully want to do music to make people feel good. I fully want to do music because I love music, and I want to dance to what I create on stage, and I want people to do the same thing, and I want to be able to touch people's hearts. I want you to cry with me. I want you to emote with me in general through lyrics, and not just because it's commercial and because it's trending. I want to make meaningful music because I want people to continue to be able to bring people back from comas through song.
Boom. All right. People wanted to find you, Ronny. Where can they find you?
You can find me in Austin, Texas, one of these days. I'm kidding. Honestly, you can hit me up you can find me as Ronny Mercedes Music on social media. That's RONNYMERCEDES music. Especially on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
And then what's the song? And by the time this is probably released, what's the song?
So the song that I'm gonna be promoting in January is called Mi Botella.
And will that be like on Spotify?
That will be on Spotify. It's
Okay.
gonna be available in all downloadable formats. And,
If so, I'll have it in the link on the website.
awesome.
And
The videos is done. I still have my braids in it. Because of this whole waiting back and forth thing. The video was done while I still had my braids because I thought I was gonna release it in July.
Wow.
So it's been sitting there. I did it in Italy, so it's gonna be fun.
Man, that's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Dude, thank you so much for your time.
Javier, thank you for your time. God bless you, man.
Yeah, and until next episode, if you guys enjoyed this, you could tag Ronny Mercedes Music
Please do.
and Javier Mercedes X. And the most specialist thing you could do is you could take the episode number, the link to it, and you could write it on an actual piece of paper, mail that to someone. Maybe you have a grandmother that means a lot to you, and maybe they'll get something out of this episode. And then you could take a snapshot of you mailing it, then tag Ronny Mercedes Music and Javier Mercedes X on it. I'm going to keep saying that at the end of each podcast until somebody physically mails a piece of mail with the link on it. God, it'll be so cool. Until next episode, I hope you guys are out there living a life of abundance. Adios.
God bless you guys. Be light where there's darkness.
Awesome.